sweet little birds. And in this particular video, we'll be reading about the very next chapter and the last chapter of the syllabus, that is chapter 7 from history, growth of new ideas from integrated social science, class 6, Ratna Sagar. In this particular chapter, we'll be reading about numerous religious sects that arose in the Middle Gangetic Basin in the 6th century BC. Okay, and let me tell you, there were as many as 62 religious sects in this period. During 6th century BC, there were as many as 62 religious sects. Okay, many of these sects were based on regional customs and rituals practiced by different peoples living in northeast India. Of these sects, we are going to study about the most important religious sects, and that is Buddhism and Jainism. With this brief introduction, let us see the contents which we are going to discuss today in this particular video. So in this particular video, there will be an introduction part. In the very first phase or very first few minutes ago, I just described or introduced about the religious sects only, but here will be introducing, there will be an introduction to the religion Buddhism, as well as about the main teachings, the Four Noble Truths and the Eightfold Path, as well as the Sangh. Let us move on towards the chapter and let us move on to the next slide. I think most questions are arising in your mind that what were the causes of the origin of these particular religions? Okay, the 62 religious sects, and of them, the two most important religion, Buddhism and Jainism, isn't it? So we have studied that there was a caste system. Okay, the society was totally caste ridden, and basically the Brahmins were there, the Kshatriyas were there, the Vaishyas were there, okay, the Shudras were there, and the Varna divided society seems to have generated tensions. Okay, the Varna divided society generated a lot of tensions, and the Kshatriyas, who acted as rulers, however, reacted strongly, okay, against the ritualistic domination of the Brahmanas, and that is one of the causes of the origin of these religious sects. And uh, let me tell you, we have already discussed that in 6th century BC, numerous religious sects arose, of which these two religions were important: Jainism and Buddhism. Vardhaman Mahavira, full name Vardhaman Mahavira, okay, who founded Jainism, and Gautam Buddha, who founded Buddhism. Basically, they belonged to Kshatriya clan. Okay, they were basically from Kshatriya clan, and both argumented the authority of the Brahmanas. Okay, what they did, they argumented, they disputed the authority of the Brahmanas. But the real cause of the rise of these new religions lay in the introduction of new agricultural economy in the new eastern India. Okay, basically these new religions arise, and the real cause was the introduction of new agricultural economy in the northeastern India. You will be reading about this one later in your further classes as well. Okay, so today we'll be starting with Buddhism. We are not going to discuss about Jainism today. We'll be discussing about Buddhism, which was founded by Gautam Buddha, because Buddha founded it. That is why on his name, okay, the name of this religious sect have been given. So we'll be discussing about Buddhism today. Let us move on. So the religion Buddhism was basically named after Gautam Buddha. Real name of Gautam Buddha was Siddharth. Okay, Gautam Buddha's real name was Siddharth. He was the founder of Buddhism and was born in Lumbini. Okay, Lumbini, uh, it's somehow now in Nepal. Okay, it's in Nepal, and he actually born in a Sakya Kshatriya clan. Okay, Sakya, it's Sakya Kshatriya clan of Kapil Vastu. Kapil Vastu, basically it is in Piprava, UP. His father was Suddhodan, okay? His father's name was Suddhodana, okay? And his mother, uh, basically the name of the mother is not given in the book, but I found it somewhere in the other books. So his mother name was Maya, okay? She was basically a princess of the neighboring clan of the Kolyas, and she actually died 7 days after the birth of Gautam Buddha. Okay, his mother died 7 days after the birth of Gautam Buddha, that is Siddharth, and he was brought up by his stepmother. Okay, he was Siddharth, that is Gautam Buddha, was brought up by his stepmother Prajapati Gautami, and Prajapati Gautami, okay, and his father Shuddhodan was basically the chief of Shakya clan. It's a Kshatriya clan of Kapil Vastu near UP, okay, and there is one more thing. He was married at the age of 16. Okay, Gautam Buddha was married at the age of 16, and he was married to Yashodhara, and had a son named Rahul. Okay, his son's name was Rahul. Okay, moving on to other things as well. Though he was having a comfortable life as a prince, but he was not happy. And what he did, he left his home. And after leaving home, he believed to have seen four sights, which basically left a deep impact on him. Okay, and what were the four sights that led him quest for truth, search for truth? What those four sights were: a very old man, a sick man, a dead body, and an ascetic. Basically, ascetic means a person who leads a simple life, especially he abstains from normal pleasures of life. Okay, he especially he follows the spiritual discipline, okay, and he practices strict self denial as a measure of personal and especially spiritual discipline. So that's ascetic, okay. uh, and when he saw these four sights, what happened? He decided to search for the answers to the mystery of life and death. As you can see, there was an old man, there was a sick man, then finally a dead body. These sights left him disturbed and uneasy, and then he saw an ascetic man who appeared unaffected by pain, sorrow, and misery around him, and that is what strike the Siddharth, as you can say Gautam Buddha, and he decided to search for answers to the mystery of life and death, and he wanted to find a solution to the suffering of the mankind, and for finding those a solution to the sufferings, he left home to seek knowledge and true meaning of life. For continuous years, he was wandering from one place to another. He meditated, actually, he attained enlightenment under a peepal tree, which is also known as tree of wisdom or Bodhi Vriksha. Okay, the peepal tree under which he attained enlightenment. Now, you must be wondering what enlightenment here is. Basically, he was enlightened, he understood that what is the reason behind the sufferings and what is the conclusion, okay, and what is the solution to the suffering of mankind. And from Gaya, then Buddha, basically Buddha means, see, Buddha means the enlightened or awakened or the wise one, because he attained enlightenment, and that is why he named as Buddha. And the name of this religion came also, which was named after his name, Buddha. Okay. From Gaya, the Buddha went to Sarnath. He gave his first sermon. Sermon means talk on religious subjects. He basically talked upon a religious subject and at the Deer Park in Sarnath, and it is known as the first sermon done by Gautam Buddha was known as Dharma Chakra Pravartana. Okay, it was known as the first sermon of Gautam Buddha was known as Dharma Chakra Pravartana. Okay, and Buddha spent the rest of his life traveling from one place to another, meeting people, preaching his message of love and peace. And there were some main teachings of Buddha as well. And what those main teachings were, basically, it includes two teachings. One is the Four Noble Truths, and the other is the Eightfold Path, that is Ashtangika Marg. Okay, we'll also be reading about it. Let me tell you in few books, if you will read about the four sights which he actually saw, and after which he decided to leave his house, and he decided to search for the solution to the sufferings. Okay, and at the age of 29, basically he left his home, his wife, his children in a sudden, out of a sudden. Okay, he just left everyone, and this departure, okay, is known as Mahabhinishkramana. Okay, it's not written in your book. I have read it somewhere else. Mahabhinishkramana. Okay, which means great renunciation. Okay, because he left his home for the search of the answers to the solution to the sufferings. So this departure is known as Mahabhinishkramana. And finally, as you have seen, that he attained enlightenment under Peepal Tree in Bodh Gaya. Okay, now in Gaya, you must have heard about Gaya, isn't it? So moving on to his teachings. So what his teachings were, we'll be dealing with the two main teachings of Buddha. Let us move ahead. The Four Noble Truths. As you can see here, the Four Noble Truths are: the world is full of suffering. Yes, we must have felt it in ourselves and with surroundings, isn't it? But we do not know that why world is full of suffering. So this is the reason. The cause of the suffering is desire, is what Buddha says. Buddha said that the world is full of suffering and the cause of suffering is desire. And he gave a solution as well, that one must get rid of desire to end suffering. Okay, one must get rid of desire to end suffering. And how we can get rid of the desire? We can get rid of the desire by following the Eightfold Path, which is also known as the Ashtangika Marg. Ashta, 8 stands for Ashta. Okay, so Ashtangika Marg, as you can see here, the first two truth describes our current situation, isn't it? Everyone is full of desires. We have desires. Every day a new desire is there, isn't it? That we want this, we want to become this, and other things as well. And the last two truths describes our potential for growth. Okay, how we can grow. Okay, what is our potential? Okay, we can get rid of suffering. We can get rid of our suffering by getting rid of the desire. And how we can get rid of the desire? By following the Eightfold Path. And what is the Eightfold Path? Let me show you what Eightfold Path is.
Okay, so here is the Eightfold Path, and the Eightfold Path is right thought, right belief, right speech, right action, right means of livelihood, right effort, right memory, and right meditation. These are the Eightfold Paths which Buddha somehow propagated to get rid of desires if we want to end the sufferings. And Buddha himself believed that the Eightfold Path, that is the Ashtangika Marg, okay, lead a person to the middle path, that is a balanced life. Okay, if we'll follow the Eightfold Path, it is a middle path which one must follow to have a balanced life. A balanced life basically is said that a person should neither live in a great luxury, okay? A person should neither live in great luxury, nor should he given up everything and suffer. Okay, one should not get rid of or give up everything or suffer, as well as one should neither live in great luxury. Okay, and he somehow believed that people must follow a balanced life, because this is the balanced life only which would help a person attain moksha and nirvana. Now the term here, what is moksha and what is nirvana, isn't it? These terms must be hitting you. Moksha is basically a state of mind in which there are no desires and hence no sufferings. On the other hand, nirvana is basically the freedom from continuous cycle of birth and death. Okay, if you that is what Buddha said, that the balanced life will lead us to moksha and nirvana. Okay, and this will somehow end the desire, as which will somehow will put an end to the sufferings also. And Buddha did not approve of rituals and animal sacrifices. Okay, he was against rituals and animal sacrifices. He basically led a stress on ahimsa, basically non-violence, okay, or you can say non-injury to all living beings, no bloodshed. He was against the caste system also. He wanted all people to be treated equally, okay, and he said that one can lead to a balanced life only with the help, only if he or if one follows this eightfold path. We must attain right thought, right belief, right speech, right action. Right means of livelihood means to live a life in which you are not doing anything illicit or anything which is illegal. Okay, you must earn you must earn having the right way of earning, or a right work, okay, so that you can live a right means of livelihood. Right effort, right memory, and right meditation. A correct meditation is also necessary. One should have a right meditation. Okay, so this was all about the main teachings of Lord Buddha. Now we'll move on to the last topic for today, is the Sangha. What basically the Sangha is. Sangh is a Sanskrit word used in many Indian languages, including Pali, meaning association, assembly, company, or community. Okay, what is Sangh? Sangh is a Sanskrit word basically. Okay, in Buddhism, Sangh refers to the monastic community, basically bhikshus and bhikshunis, community of bhikshus, the monks and the nuns. Okay, and the monks and these monks and nuns led a simple life. They meditated much of the time, collected teachings of Buddha, and the Buddhist monks used to live in monasteries, which were also the centers of education. And whatever teachings they get, okay, whatever teachings the monks and the nuns collected, they used to teach others as well. Okay, they taught others about the teachings of Buddha. And the Sangh basically means the orders of monks and nuns. They used to live in monastery. This is all about today. In the very next video, we'll be dealing with the next topic, that is Jainism by Vardhaman Mahavira. Till then, have a nice day and do read the topics from the book related to the topics which we have discussed here today. Thank you.